Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Center Lane, a political discussion for those of us who want our politicians to just get along, to just come up with some consensus so we all can get something done. Busy week this week. Let's get right to it. To start out with the Republicans. Okay, well, they had their convention, and in all honesty, they did a pretty good job overall. I mean, they certainly are showing unity towards their guy. Almost cult-like unity, but it's unity, and unity is unity, and that's a good thing when you're trying to get somebody across the finish line. Thoughts on it? First off, 4 days is way too long. Man, get these things down to 2 or 3 days, these conventions. 4 days, I watched quite a bit, but not all of it. I mean, I don't think anybody could have, it's almost impossible to listen to those many speeches. A lot of them sounded like, first one sounded like the last one, kind of a thing. I found it interesting, a lot of Republican governors, and of course they're there to push for Trump's election, but they're really there to audition for down the road 28, 32, whatever, presidential candidates themselves. And what I found interesting about it was they all painted America as a doom and gloom, terrible place under Joe Biden. They never call him President Biden. They always call him Joe Biden. I find that interesting too. They call him President Trump, when actually he's former president, and they never called Joe Biden President Biden. Okay, whatever. I found it interesting, the governors almost to a T, Youngkin, DeSantis, Huckabee, etc. America's in terrible decline, but their states are just great, and they're just fantastic because of their leadership. So you know that they're auditioning for the next, round of elections. Well, that's fine, but I just thought that was kind of interesting. Trump picking J.D. Vance for the VP. I might bite him in the butt. I'm not so sure how J.D. Vance is going to vet so well over time. We'll see how that goes. He's not very well known. He is and he isn't. Everybody knows he had that movie in the book, and yeah, okay. But, there's a lot more to that guy. And I think as it comes out in pieces, we'll see how that plays in the wider general electorate. Will he hurt Trump? I don't know if he'll hurt him, but I don't know how much he's going to help him either. And he barely won the senator in Ohio. He barely got through the finish line there. And he has a couple of things that might trip him up because he had some controversy about how he raised his money. And that might come back to bite him too, because it's not clear what he started a charity of some sort. And somehow that money ended up in his coffers. And then he dissolved the charity. I don't know. More to follow, I suppose. But anyways, he's an interesting guy. I mean, he's very smart, but how he'll play in a wider general electorate, we're going to have to wait and see. I think that Trump, if I would have been Trump, man, I would have tried and gotten Sarah Huckabee. That would have been a slam dunk for him, I think, if he would have got her as his VP choice. But, some of these governors, he may have asked her. Some of these people don't want to be VP because they figure out, what if he loses? Now I'm tied to a loser, or they don't want to give up their position where they're at this time. I think Rubio would have been a pretty good choice, but I think Rubio probably turned it down because he would have had to have literally given up his Senate seat without, knowing that they're going to win or not, and he would have had to move from Florida, or at least have a residency from Florida. So that's asking a lot. So he may have just said, you know what, thank you, but no thank you. So he came up with J.D. Vance, and we'll see how that plays out. Trump himself, his acceptance speech started out really good. It sounded like unity. He had some humility. He gave the Secret Service some props for protecting him. And I thought that was nice because they're under the gun for how the hell that kid got up on the roof and was able to get those shots off and all those other things. We're going through that process of finding out what happened there. But the people that threw their bodies around him to protect him, and he gave them, full credit for that, and he thanked him. I thought that was nice because they deserve, those people that do that, there's bullets flying. They're throwing their body in front of you to protect you. That's a hell of a commitment. So they deserve to be recognized for that. They're very brave, and so that was good. That part of the Secret Service was good. The rest of it, not so much, maybe. But now back to Trump, though. His speech, it started out good and had some unity, but he just cannot help himself. I'm trying to understand this guy. He started from a speech of unity and some humility, and, he had a near-death experience, and all that was, intriguing and spellbinding when he spoke. And then he spoke, first off, way too long, over 90 minutes. I fell asleep and woke back up. He's still talking. And then he went back to the crazy Nancy Pelosi and the whole red meat thing. They stole the election. Dude, you blew your chance there. You should have You came on strong. You should have had maybe another 20 minutes, a little bit of red meat here and there, and then gotten off the stage. You would have, but what you did was you handed the Democrats a gift. So that was a pretty big unforced error right there. But he's known for his unforced errors. They try to explain it away, but it's like, you didn't do what you said you're going to do. You're looking for preaching for unity, and you got divisive again, and it's going to hurt you. You've got a big base, but you don't have enough to get you over the finish line. So anyways, we'll see how that all plays out on the Republican side. Now, the Democrats, of course, Joe Biden, I think he dropped out, obviously. Everybody knows that by now. I think the COVID was like the last straw. I was like, man, I know I just had COVID. Me and my wife a couple of weeks ago, and man, he feels awful. I'm sure he's laying in bed, you can't be around other people, probably thinking, man, I think the universe is trying to tell me something, get out. Now, unfortunately, if he would have never ran for re-election in the first place, the Democrats would be in a lot better position right now, because then they could have had a regular primary and got the correct candidate, or at least the one that, that would have won the people's choice. Instead, we're getting a coronation of Kamala Harris. So basically, she's not the candidate yet, but she is. And the Democrats are trying to coalesce around her. And I just don't know if she can win, man. I don't know if she can beat Trump. And at the end of the day, I think John Morgan said it here from Morgan to Morgan here in Florida. He says people go to the racetrack to win, not to look at the horses. They want to win. Can Kamala win? I don't know if she can win. She's not, her popularity is right down there with Biden's. A year ago, they were talking about getting her off the ticket altogether, because she was going to be dragging Biden down. Now, suddenly Biden, endorsed her, which, that's a loyalty thing. And whether he 100% believes that was the right thing, for him it was, and that's fine. But can she beat Trump? She's not popular. She has a problem, some things that, like, I think I said this on another podcast, like, my wife's a Republican, but she voted for Biden in 20, but she don't like Kamala. And will she vote for it? She might, at the end of the day, vote for it. She won't vote for Trump, but she might vote for a third-party candidate or whatever else. I heard that Manchin's thinking about running now. The Senator Manchin from West Virginia is thinking about running for president now because of all the things that have unfolded as a moderate center-lane candidate. I probably wouldn't vote for him because I don't want Trump to get in, but it's appealing to a lot of people, and it might even be appealing to me. We'll see what he's got to say. But some of these things, the next 4 months are going to be interesting. But again, going back to her, I just don't know if she's from New York. They're pinning her as a liberal. That hurts her right out of the gate. I'm not New York. I'm sorry, California, and they're pinning her as a liberal, and that's going to be something she'll have to kind of overcome. I don't think she's super on the left. She's a lawyer. She's a prosecutor, and she comes across that. And sometimes that type of personality isn't endear itself to the masses. It just doesn't. So it's going to be to see what she can do. I certainly want to hear what she has to say. They didn't do her any favors by giving her the border when she first became VP to be in charge of the border. Really? That's been a mess for 50 years. You're going to put her in there because now, of course, Republicans are saying, oh, look what she did at the border. She did nothing. She's left holding the bag. So that's going to make it a little bit tough on her as well. Lastly, I think that she, on her VP pick, who she's going to pick, it's going to be pretty important. So I think she's going to pick Senator Mark Kelly from Arizona. I think that actually he would make a decent candidate for the Democrats right now because, in my opinion at least, he's in the center. He's a combat naval fighter pilot from the Iraq War. He's an astronaut. You know what I mean? His wife, Gabby Gifford, was shot 11, 12 years ago in the head. Remember that? When she was a congressman, she got shot in the head, and she's still affected to this day by it. But she survived the assassination attempt. I think that he would have a broad appeal to a lot of people. But, Biden, put his name on Kamala. And we'll see. And one more point, too. I'm sorry, but I was thinking about AOC, of all people, said, look, a lot of people don't want Biden. They don't want the Biden ticket. She's part of that ticket. That ticket was losing. Now, just because she's in the front of the ticket, does it change it that much? She's younger. That's good. Biden did a lot of good stuff, but he had trouble. The Republicans have done a good job of pinning him down and keeping him pinned back. They have. and rewriting history about how great it was when Trump was president. There's a lot of, they've done a really effective job of that. They've been very disciplined these past 4 years. The fact that Trump's even a candidate, remember after when he left in 2021, he went and played golf for 6 months and he was licking his wounds and he was not even considered somebody that could come back. And the fact that he's been able to come back and be where he is today, that's amazing. It's remarkable. So, it's something that, history, you look back at history and things become clear going forward. You got to look at your past to see the future. So a lot's going on, I know, and I could go on forever because it's kind of exciting and actually it's fun. So, but we'll stop for now. And I hope you all have a great day, and I will talk to you again soon.